Hello darlings, Nick here with another video. Now I know it's been a long time since I've posted, but I do have an excuse. I was traveling. But that's exactly what this video is about. I have a lot of stuff to talk to you guys about, so let's get to it. So I was basically in Sweden, specifically up north in Arvidsjaur. Arvidsjaur, which is a small town, maybe about 3,500 people in it, but absolutely beautiful, stunning, covered in snow. And I was there for a press trip with Bandai Namco. Now, what Bandai Namco was flying us over to basically do is to check out some of their new games that they have lined up, and basically had a really cool experience ready for us. The game that they were heavily talking about was Project Cars 2, which is a follow-up from their hugely successful racing simulator Project Cars. Now, before we could even play the game, we had 2 days of driving on ice. Basically, we took these Mercedes-Benz cars over to a frozen lake and did all kinds of cool stunts and tricks with them. I was pretty good. I was able to drift a few corners here and there and didn't get stuck in the snow, so I was very happy about that. But generally it was a really cool experience, and all of us were kind of wondering why we were driving on ice for a games event. And it was only until the third day we realized that all the skills that they were teaching us as to how to drive on ice and how to control the car were skills you could actually apply in Project Cars 2, because Project Cars historically as a game has amazing handling and detailing, and just the amount of effort they put into modeling the cars and tracks is just phenomenal. So the same thing was happening with this ice track based in Sweden, where all the skills we learned while driving the actual cars on ice, we could actually mimic in game. So if, for example, I was on an ice circuit and I just floored the accelerator, my car would go nowhere. The tires would just keep on spinning in the ice. That's something that would happen in real life if you tried to floor the accelerator on an icy surface, and exactly the same thing happened in the game. I think at some point I hit 60 kilometers an hour, and driving at that speed on ice really is asking for trouble. So I always had to keep my speed a little bit close to 40 or 50 kilometers per hour just to gain control of the car. Now for Project Cars 2, I was able to sit down with Ben Collins, who's the ex-Dig from Top Gear, and talk to him about how his driving experience has helped shape Project Cars 2. And I also had a really cool opportunity to chat with Nicholas Hamilton, who's Lewis Hamilton's brother. Now Nicholas' story is an interesting one because he was diagnosed with cerebral palsy, but despite this was able to go from a guy playing racing simulators to an actual race car driver. So it's a very interesting experience to sit and talk with him, and I'll put a link below in the description of this video where you can go and watch the full interview with him. It's a really cool thing to watch. Now Project Cars 2 doesn't have a release date just yet, but the team have said that it should be out later on this year, so we can't wait to check it out. Now the next game I played was Get Even, and this is a game that I played at Gamescom last year. And when I was playing it, I wasn't quite sure what the storyline was about, because it was basically a guy with this sort of VR headset on his head trying to find a girl, and then there was suddenly a bomb, and it was neither here nor there. It was still a great game to play, but I didn't quite understand what the storyline was about. Now in Get Even, the character you play has a sort of VR headset on his head and is being held captive in an insane asylum, which is creepy as it is. And the objective is to basically, using the headset, go into your own memories to try and relive them, to get vital information, or try to see alternative things that may have happened that you may not have picked up on. And it's a very interesting game to play because you keep asking yourself the question as to what is real and what is actually a memory. So it's interesting to see how the gameplay changes as you progress deeper and deeper into some of your memories. It is a very cool and super creepy game. I was speaking to the developers and they were saying that some of the settings, for example, the insane asylum that you initially explore, were actually modeled after real life abandoned asylums in parts of Poland and other parts of the world. So that level of detail and depth is that the creepiness factor is there definitely, and some of the characters that you meet along the way are very interesting. Now Get Even releases on May 26th this year, so definitely keep an eye on that one because it is super creepy and super interesting. Next up we had Little Nightmares. Now this is a game, again, that was showcased at Gamescom last year. It got quite a bit of buzz just because of its artistic style and gameplay, and it's very much a puzzle platformer. If you like games like Little Big Planet and Unravel, this one fits right up there. It's again super creepy because you play a little character called Six, who has no abilities. Basically, she's got no powers, nothing at all. All she can do is pick up objects and basically use a lighter to find her way around. That's it. And the developers said that they wanted to keep this as as simple as possible for the character. We didn't want her to have a lot of abilities or things that people had to keep remembering. So essentially, we're going to try and guide her through this sort of nightmarish I want to say again, it's like a sort of a dollhouse scenario where you have different areas you have to explore. You have these really crazy characters you come across. One of the characters that I bumped to is called the janitor, and he's basically a really short guy but with really long hands, and he basically tries groping around trying to find where you are, and it really can get super creepy. So that's another interesting game that Bandai Namco has up its sleeve, and it releases on April 28th, so not too long to go. Next up was Impact Winter. Now in this game, an asteroid has hit Earth and started off an insane blizzard, and you are part of a team of 5 survivors that's basically taking shelter in a church, and you have 30 days before help arrives to come rescue you. Now in those 30 days, a lot can happen. You have to make sure your shelter is safe and secure from the harsh winds and from the climate outside. You have to make sure your team is well fed and rested. You have to make sure that people aren't arguing with each other and then morale is high. You have to go out and scavenge for parts and hunt for food and things like that. There's a lot of things you have to sort of micromanage, but the advantage of Impact Winter is that you can assign your teammates to do tasks by themselves and they'll do it for you, so you can basically go out and attend to more important things. There is some degree of micromanagement involved, but not too much to overwhelm you. I had an interesting time with this game because every time I tried to venture outside to go and look for food, one of my teammates would just randomly break into an argument with other people, so to keep on going back to try and pacify the situation and make sure everybody was happy before going out again. So you have to make sure that people have things to do and that they're happy, or else all hell will break loose. Impact Winter releases on April 12th, and I think it's an interesting game to look out for if you enjoy sort of micromanaging resources and make sure that elements of a team stay together. So it may not necessarily be a game that I'm very good at, but it's definitely one you should try out if that's something that's right up your alley. Now I got to play the Ring City, which is the second and final expansion for Dark Souls 3, and like anyone who's played Dark Souls 3, I was absolutely terrible. I mean, the number of times I died just by standing still or looking through my inventory was just ridiculous. If you are a fan of Dark Souls 3, this is definitely something to look out for. It comes out on March 28th, so not long to wait, but yeah, I was just terrible, so I'm not gonna even bother saying that I was any good at the game because I really was quite crap. And that's it for my amazing trip to Sweden. A huge thanks to Bandai Namco for taking me along. I will put links and everything else in the description below so you guys can check out some of the videos and articles I've written. But yeah, leave some comments below if you have any questions about some of the games that I've played, and I'll see you guys in another video pretty soon. Ciao!